Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Real Chat Daddy Show. To say good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Tuesday night edition of the Real Chat Daddy Show. I am your host, Chat Daddy, back for another evening of your favorite news, entertainment, variety show, whatever you call it. We're back for another night of hopefully entertaining and very informative information that we share on the show each and every night. As you guys all know, today is International Women's Day or International Women's Day. And we're going to talk about the contributions that women have made to society, as well as March is endometriosis. I almost couldn't say that. Awareness Month. And tonight we'll have a wonderful author, speaker, health educator, and advocate, Miss Michelle Johnson, will join us to talk about redefining endometriosis and what women go through when they suffer from it. Speaking of an international woman who, if I'm not mistaken, wants to get married in Prague.
Yes.
Is that, am I right about that? Am I right about that?
Proposed in Prague.
You want to get proposed to in Prague. Okay,
Yes.
darling. Our co-host, the amazing Ms. Kay Renee of Karen's Nuggets of Knowledge. Good evening, dear, and how are you?
I am truly blessed and highly favored, Chat Daddy, and definitely
Oh,
blessed to be with my big brother. So,
oh, yeah, I'm glad to be here with you tonight. It's been a long day for me, but I'm
I
actually just
know.
excited to do tonight's show because there's so much that we need to talk about. How's your day been so far today?
It's been very, very busy, but God is good. But I wouldn't be remiss because not only today is International Women's Day, one of my dear cousins slash sister, her birthday is today. So, be Countess, if you're listening, my love, happy birthday.
Oh, how sweet. That is really beautiful. A lot of people are celebrating birthdays today. And, it is what it is. So, yes, absolutely. Okay, very good. Well, Kay Renee, we have so much to talk about tonight. We have a quick
Yes.
show tonight, but it's just so much we need to cover. I'm going to start off by giving some information. I don't know if we should talk about the history of International Women's Day first, or should we do the COVID numbers, then talk about International Women's Day? I'll
Let's
let
do the
you choose.
COVID numbers.
Okay. Since you guys are full aware, we are a health and wellness show, and each and every evening we deliver to you the latest COVID-19 numbers. As we all know, the caseloads are dropping across the country, and they will be lowering a lot of the mitigation that has been in place for quite a while. And so, as of today, Illinois public health officials reported 1,055 new COVID cases. Unfortunately, we had 24 related deaths in the last 24 hours, or I take that back, 22 in the last 24 hours. There has been at least 3,040,861 total cases, including 32,978 deaths since the beginning of the pandemic. Now, the good news is that our 7 day statewide test positivity rate continues to drop. It is at 1.4 right now. A figure last reported like that was January 6th of 2021. And that's when I was in Hawaii. That's exactly when I was in Hawaii. Yep. So, yes. So,
Wow.
as of Monday night, there are 791 patients in the state of Illinois who are in the hospital due to COVID-19. 142 of those patients were in the ICU, and 63 of those patients are on ventilators. So, the numbers are dropping, things are changing, but I've been talking to quite a few people who feel as if things are changing a little too rapid and that this has not gone away. I was listening to some reports yesterday that was saying that they're now, oh, I know who it was. The lady from the CDC is now trying to list COVID as just like having a cold or the flu. They're trying to relate it to being a winter thing, which we had heard that before, but look at the number of people who have died. I mean, I know we've had swine flu and other flus, but you've never had this many people die from it. What do you think about that?
I don't know what she was smoking when she said it because This is a once in a, I think, a millennial type of deal,
Right.
and we are steadily approaching. I would not be surprised if we reach 1 million people in the United States alone who
Right.
have suffered and unfortunately lost their lives. I know, I do recall hearing a number of almost 6 million worldwide. That's a
Yes.
lot of folks.
Yes, it is. And matter of fact, um, the 6 million, if I'm not mistaken, it was reported this past Monday. So
Right.
as of this past Monday, 6 million
6
people.
million.
That's a lot of people. That's a
That's a
lot of
city.
people.
That's two
Yes, yes, it
cities.
is. Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Shoot. So
Right.
for them to downplay it, to say, oh, this is going to be a cold, no. Treat this the way it should be treated. Give it the respect it deserves, but at the same time, let's report honest information out there, because there are people who still don't want to take the vaccine.
No, no,
There's still people
no.
who don't want to wear no damn mask. And
Right.
until we get herd immunity, which I had not heard that term in a month of Sundays,
Right.
you have to treat it like you're supposed to treat it. When you go out, if you're traveling, you got to wear what? A mask.
Right.
If you're
Yes.
on public transportation, got to wear a mask. And as
Yes.
we say on the show, well, we're going to be wearing our masks to win June, November 2025.
We gonna be wearing them to win, boo.
June, November 2025.
Right. Let me put that up there. Let me put that up there. Wait, what oh, here we go. Here we go right here. I can't find it. Oh, here it is. We will be wearing our mask until then. Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
I just I don't like things being downplayed. We've lost too many people. There are people, you hear um, advertisements and commercials, uh, talking about people trying to get vaccinated. You know, I
Right.
I don't. When you say don't give respect, well, think about it. If almost 1 million people have died in the United States, you better
Yes.
respect it.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. I was in the western
Shoot.
suburbs today and I went into two different supermarkets. And for the most part, I'll give the people credit. A majority of the people had masks on. There were some people that did not. Most of the employees had their mask on. Yeah, everywhere we went, most of the employees had theirs on. You did have those that were walking around maskless, that type of thing, but it was no big deal. People really are wearing them and still had them on. We stopped for lunch and everybody had them on where we stopped for lunch at. So, it was good. So,
I mean, you hear reports here in Chicago with the Chicago public schools? If there's an uptick again, guess what's gonna happen with the mask mandate? Those kids gonna be
right,
wearing masks. So
right. Well,
again,
even the lady from CDC said, take your mask and put it in a drawer, but don't get rid of it. She even said that. She did. She said it yesterday. She said, just put it away for right now. Because I'm telling you, they're trying to relate this to being just a seasonal type of situation.
okay. You know what? And where's the CDC located?
In Atlanta,
It, all right.
hot Atlanta, which is a hot mess, which is a hot mess.
let her ass come to Chicago. How about that?
Right. Yes, I
Tell them
agree.
come to a colder climate. How about that? See,
Yep.
when you stay in a colder climate for 6 or more months, then make that statement.
Yes. And
Ooh,
then
don't get
you
today.
know
Today
the
is International Women's Day. All right, please don't get me. I'm in a good mood. Don't
well,
get me
we gonna
started.
get you started because we want to hear from the international woman from the south side of Chicago. You know what I'm saying? That's what we want to hear from. It's women like you that make the world go round. You know what I'm saying? Yes. So speaking of traveling, the mask mandates are supposed to end March 18th,
Uh huh.
where people would not have to wear masks on airplanes anymore.
Uh huh.
And they're probably going to have to extend that. They probably will because you're in a capsule
Yeah.
traveling close with people. I had a dear
Yeah.
friend fly last night. She said it was a
Mm-hmm.
packed flight.
Oh,
And
was it? Oh
oh
my
yeah, she said it was
goodness.
absolute full flight. It didn't leave here to old dark 100 in the morning.
Yeah.
She didn't get to where she was going at 3 a.m. this morning.
So she made it
So
safely. Good.
she
Good.
did. She made it safely.
Okay. Good.
But the deal is, you don't want to be sitting on a plane next to strangers, not knowing, and they breathing on you, you breathing on them. So, it just
Mm-hmm.
makes it a mess.
Well, I mean, even when I travel this summer, we will be masking. Okay,
Yes, yes.
happy International Women's Day to your cousin, Dr. Sims, my
I know.
girlfriend,
Hey,
your
cousin.
cousin.
Hey, cousin. I had a meeting today, and I conducted the entire meeting with my mask on. Even though,
I know
even
that's
though the
right.
interviewer didn't have a mask on, I had my mask
Hey,
on the entire meeting.
cause
Yep.
cause guess what, Art? You love yourself. See, when you love you, you gonna take care of you because
Right.
God, He made you in His image and likeness, right? So
Right.
as such, you need to take care of that. So
Hmm.
again, I'm trying to be good. This is
Yes.
Women's Day. I'm trying to be
I
good.
understand. I understand. Well, here's the deal: 12 states have been removed from Chicago's travel advisory. The list has now dropped down to 34 states and one territory. 12 states were dropped as of Tuesday. The city department announced that Connecticut, Delaware, Florida, Georgia, Hawaii, Indiana, New Jersey, New York, Pennsylvania, South Carolina, South Dakota, and Wisconsin have all been dropped due to the fact that their threshold has dropped as well too. They're looking at 18 more states being dropped as of next week if the threshold remains low. Now, here's the deal: Hawaii still requires you to wear masks indoors, though.
Wait, here's the deal. Also, all right, what's this month about? Not only is March Madness, what happens? Spring break. Let's see
Spring
what that
break?
happens. That is going to be a good litmus test because
Yes, it is.
everybody named Mama gonna be down in Florida
Yes,
and all the
Hawaii,
southern
all the,
states,
yes, yep,
whining and dining, and see
yep,
what happens. If they
right.
if they can come out of that unscathed, then I'll like all right. But if they don't,
Hmm.
watch.
Yes, absolutely. Well, we'll see how this all trickles down. Well, as we said before, today is International Women's Day, a celebration of women. It is observed every March 8th, and it is a global movement. It's a social, economic, cultural, and political celebration of women. According to the International Women's Day website, the day calls for action to advance gender equality. Believe it or not, this day was first created in 1909, and it was first observed on the last Sunday in February until 1913. In 1910, the Second International Conference of Working Women, a gathering of women of activists and political organizations in Copenhagen, an ideal international that they voted and approved for this to be something that would continue on. March 8th became a fixed day since 1914, when the day was moved to be in line with Russia's women who celebrate on February 23rd on the Gregorian calendar. Interesting. And with
Wonderful.
all the turmoil we have in Russia right now.
Oh, goodness. And I know we need to talk about this at some point tonight.
Yes,
So,
right.
uh,
So I want to ask you this. The United Nations first recognized International Women's Day in 1975. What
mhm.
does it mean to be a woman in today's society? You are a well traveled woman, a businesswoman. You have done some amazing things, but I can never walk in the glory of who you are as a woman. And so, what does it mean to be a woman in today's society?
It means, in my opinion, to be strong. There's nothing that any woman can't accomplish now in 2022. In looking at our young women, they're doing it, they're rocking it, and it just makes me proud. But one thing that I really, when I was up this morning, and of course looking at the theme for Women's History Month, and I saw this one movement, this break the bias. There's still biases among us, whether you're black, white, Hispanic, Asian, whether gay, straight, fluid, what have you,
Trans,
transgender. There's
right.
still biases against women. There's still issues that me as a woman have to go through. And it shouldn't be that way. I mean, yes, we're moving forward. We have our first vice president who happens to be biracial, African
Yes,
American
she
and
is.
Indian.
Yes, she is.
We
Right.
hope to have our first black Supreme Court justice, hopefully. Her
Yes. Fingers
confirmation
crossed.
hearings, Miss Ketanji, Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson. There are a
Yes.
lot of different accomplishments that all women have made, but as a whole, globally, we got still a lot of work to do. Because until, as far as equal pay, women aren't getting paid like we should get. We're doing okay. We're getting
Right.
better, but it's not like it should be. I mean, I'm talking all women, not just
Some
white
women.
women, not
Right.
just black women. All
Yes.
women should be paid equally.
I
There
agree.
should be, and this is just my opinion too, for policies that, that really gear towards women that
hmm
they're not doing. So, I'm grateful that that I was born during the time that I was born in. I
Right.
am hopeful that the young women that come behind me will continue to do marvelous things. But I
hmm
am so, and I'll say this, I've always said this. God knew what he was doing when I came in this world as a woman. And I would not
Okay.
be any other thing but a black woman at that.
A black woman, that's all you'd
A
ever be.
You better know it.
And see, my alter ego is a white woman, a
I know
wealthy
it
white
is,
woman, a
sweetie.
wealthy white woman. My alter ego. She's
But
named
I
Babs,
mean, think
named
about it.
Barbara. Yes.
Think about it, big brother. I'll be turning a certain milestone in September, and I'll tell
Yes.
anyone, black don't crack, baby.
No, it don't. It does not. It might waver a little bit. It
It may
might, it might,
waver.
it might get down and out a little bit, but baby,
That's
it does
true.
not
It
crack.
does
That's right.
not crack.
That's right. You're absolutely right. Well, I do want to say to you and all the women out there, mothers, aunts, sisters, doctors, lawyers, healers, nurses, you name it. I mean, I was just thinking about the number of Black women who have just, Harriet Tubman, Shirley
Yes.
Chisholm, Oprah
Yes.
Winfrey, women who
Yes.
have just made history throughout the times. And so I'm just honored to be able to speak so lovingly about women on International Women's Day.
And even though I have been really blessed to know a lot of wonderful women who are not really known in this universe, but there's
Right.
one woman that if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be here. And that's my mother, Mrs. Clara
Yes.
Stain Mason. So
hmm
to her, who is with me in spirit, she was the first woman in my life. And I am
hmm
so grateful that she came through this way so that I could still be a part of her legacy and just, live my life on purpose. And I think that's another thing that a lot of women do, Art. They're living their lives. I said yesterday, yesterday's nugget, if you want something said, ask a man. But if you want something done, ask a woman. Because
All
she will
right.
get
Well,
it
well,
done.
well, madam, it's time for us to move on to the next news story. So I'm
I
gonna
get
let you do what you do, ma'am. Get it done. What else you got in the news lineup tonight? Great
well,
job, okay, Renee. God bless you. That was beautiful, though. That was really beautiful. But come on, what's the next news story? Here we go.
well, speaking of rights, hey, this has been a long time coming.
hmm
The Senate passed the Emmett Till Anti Lynching Act of 2022. This has been a long time coming. I know Mamie Till Mobley is saying, "Thank you, Jesus."
Right.
All
Yes.
she wanted was justice for her son.
That's
Now, I've
right.
not been a mom. I lost my daughter early. I was only 9 weeks pregnant. But as a mother, to endure what that woman had endured, to see her son just desecrated by crazy white men, and yes, I say it. Now, anti-lynching is a felony. You do some snit like that, your ass going to jail, as you should.
That's
It is
right.
sad
That's
to
right.
say in 2022, Art, that we are still dealing with lynching. That should be abolished, but it's
Right.
not. But by
Yes, that is
unanimous
true.
consent, they passed the bill. So you know our president, President Joe Biden, is going to sign that, and it's going to
Yes.
go into law.
Yes, and shout out to Congressman Bobby Rush. I saw him on the news earlier today.
Mm-hmm.
You're right, long overdue. That we would have to wait this long for that type of situation to unfold. For us to finally see it come to fruition. So yeah, you're absolutely right about that. Yes, good story. Yes, all right.
Yes, yes. And then we got. I guess we got to talk about Russia.
I know,
But
I
but
know.
here's the thing. Talk about Joe, our president. He enlisted an embargo with Russia. So that guess what? They can't import any oil
Right.
throughout the United States or anywhere else. See, this is how you get Russia. If you really want to shut them down, shut down that oil. Because a lot of
Right.
companies who are worldwide, Starbucks, I ain't heard from Mickey D's yet, but a lot of these global companies that have offices in Russia, you know what they're doing, right? They're like, you know what? We got to
So
go.
McDonald's is closing down everywhere in Russia and the Ukraine, and they
Okay.
will be paying their employees. They will be paying the people while they're going through this.
I
So
heard
they
about
did.
Starbucks.
Yes.
Starbucks
Yes.
shut down. A
Yes.
lot
Yes.
of these accounting firms who have offices in Russia shut down. See,
Yes.
this is what it's so interesting. I kind of peeped at the View this morning,
Yes.
and hearing one of former Orange Heads. I guess she was close to him as far as in his cabinet. She really spoke truth about him. Is that because everyone, you hear Republicans are saying, well, if he were in office, we wouldn't be going through this. Oh, it'd be a lot worse. Because
Yes,
if
it
he were
would.
in office, he would tell Putin, "Oh, just go ahead, take Ukraine. It's okay." No,
Right.
it's not. Because he's very intimidated by Putin. I don't know why.
Mhm. Well, Putin got muscles. Have you ever seen him without his shirt on? He got a little fine body now. Not that I'm in love with him, but he does have a nice little body under them clothes now. So maybe that's what
Hey, that
Trump is after. Trump might want to rub his belly or his booty or something. I don't know, but yes.
it takes more than muscles for me, for a man. That's all I got to say.
All right,
Because
all
those
right.
muscles
Now,
can go anytime.
yeah, that's true. That is true. Very, very true. Well, my thoughts and prayers go out to the people of Ukraine, but I'm still worried
Yes.
about the African students that were having so
Yes.
many issues and problems. And to me, that was just heart wrenching as well too. I was talking to my friend, and I was saying, listen, Africans are the only people that will go to school anywhere in the world, as well as those from the Asian culture.
Yes.
Us from the United States, we either gonna go to a historically black college, we gonna go
Yes.
to a state college. If you're Christian, you'll go to a Christian school, whatever the case may be. But you're not going, it's not heard of that Kay Renee from the south side of Chicago is at the University of Moscow unless she's over there on some type of program or whatever
Exactly.
the case. But Africans are
Exactly.
the only people, Africans and Asians are the only race of people that I know have no problem going to school anywhere in the world.
I couldn't do that because it was bad enough. When I was going to college, my mom didn't never want me to go away. I had a 4-year scholarship to HBCU. She's like, "You staying right here in Chicago," and that was, that's another story. But in hindsight, I'm glad she did. But I wanted to go away, not far away, like Moscow or anything like that. But of course, if I
Mhm.
were accepted to a program, like, in my major to go, I would consider doing that. But even now, you just got to be careful where you go because, I was watching something last night about, on the History Channel, but I was there, and the gentleman who was a brother, and he was a good looking brother too, Mr. Theo
Uh-huh.
Wilson. I
Good
was like,
looking
woo,
brother too.
he was good looking. But anyway, he was talking about Chernobyl and,
Yes.
saying, where were
Yes.
you there if you were there? And I said, I just, that's a place I just would not even think about. Oh, well, let me go to Chernobyl to work. No, no,
Yeah.
no, no. So,
Absolutely. Yes.
but we're praying for the Africans because I saw news reports and how they were treated, and they should be treated that way. They just shouldn't.
Yes. Absolutely. Just horrible. All right. What else we got in the news?
Well, locally, I was sad to see this that a security guard was fatally shot just getting gas. Now, we know how much price gas is, y'all. In California, it's $7. Here in Chicago, I think it's over $4. But unfortunately, this young security guard she lost her life just getting some gas. What the
Yes.
hell is going on with people?
He actually is one of the security guards that greets everybody at the door at WGN. And
What?
I did not know about the story until
Oh,
just a few minutes ago before we came on the air. And the security guards are who greet you first when you come to
right.
GN. They're the ones who grant you access on the property. They're the ones that, and I always laugh with the ladies. When I was there Valentine's Day, I gave the ladies chocolate. So I am just devastated about this young lady's passing. And when I found out she was a security guard at WGN, I said, oh my God, that's one of the ladies who greet me. And then when they said she had got off of her shift, I imagine she probably worked 7 to 2. So she would be somebody that I would run into at WGN. So I'm just devastating. Our hearts go out to her family, her children. She was going to pick up her kids from school. And imagine she never made it. Never made it.
I hope they find that SOB. And I mean, I hope they find them and do whatever they need to do. Cause this is what I'm talking about. That as women, you have to be very careful. And even, one of my dear friends. It's 419, Cynthia. Wow.
Honey, Cynthia,
Um,
that's cheap. Look,
yeah,
Cynthia,
that
that's
is
cheap.
cheap.
Yeah,
Cause
not to divert from our conversation, but that's cheap. Yeah.
wow. I mean, that's why I understand why a lot of my female friends they have what is called, they have a boyfriend called Smith. The last name is Wesson. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep. But again, if you just pumping gas or just getting in and out of your car, just the whole trauma of somebody coming up to you, because they said they thought it could have been a possible carjacking because they said they just drove up beside of her and started shooting. It's horrible. It is really sad. It is so sad in
uh,
this day and age. It really is.
you have to just be mindful and you have to stay prayerful.
You do. You
That
really
just
do.
that hurt my heart to hear that.
Yep. Yep. Well, she was
That
definitely
really
one of the
did.
security guard greeters at WGN. I know. And that's what they were talking about this, the fact that she was at G. So she would have been somebody I've come in contact with several times.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yep.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Oh my goodness. Well,
What else we got
and
in the news, darling?
well, I mean, everyone's been celebrating, International Women's Day, but I want to give some history about one particular lady who actually is not only born on this day. I want to give some knowledge here, but a lot of people when I posted this, they were like, "Wow, I didn't know she did this." Actually, I want to honor two women that you may not know. Dr. Lila Abron, who is a sister. She's an entrepreneur and a chemical engineer. She was the first African American woman to earn a PhD in chemical engineering.
Wow. How amazing.
And she was born on today. So happy birthday, Dr. Lila. Oh my goodness. That is
Yeah.
to get it's hard enough to get a PhD. Okay?
Yeah.
Now you
Right.
top that off with getting a PhD in chemical engineering. You a bad sister.
Yes. So is she still around or
She
and
is
how old is she?
77.
Oh wow, how fabulous.
Yes.
Very
And
good.
even though it's kind of tie into our guests to a certain degree, this woman, unfortunately, she's no longer with us,
Mhm.
but Miss Mary Beatrice Davidson Kenner, who is an African American noted inventor, she developed what was now known as a sanitary napkin.
Really? Yes, I think I've heard that. I have heard that. I think that was discussed on one of my other shows before. Right.
But due to racial discrimination, her patent for it was prevented for 30 years.
So somebody else got on her idea and her patent was oh my God, how horrible is that?
So as I said earlier, Art, even though I'm proud to be a woman, we still got a long way to go.
Yes, you do. Yes, you
Long
do.
way to go.
Yes, women's
But I'm just
equality.
so proud of a lot of women inventors just doing the damn thing, and
Hmm.
it just makes my heart proud. And even these young ones, these youngins,
Yes, yes,
are just knocking it out the park. And
yes.
so I'm just really proud to be just being a woman.
Oh, that's beautiful. This has been a great show. For those of you all that are just joining us, welcome to the Tuesday night edition of the Real Chat Daddy Show. Tonight, we're talking about endometriosis. We have a guest coming on in just a little bit who's going to tell us all about endometriosis and how she's trying to redefine what it is and how to help those. She's a wonderful person. I just love and adore her. So I'm looking forward to the conversation. In the co-host chair is our good friend, Miss Kay Renee of Karen's Nuggets of Knowledge. Always just so knowledgeable, so much fun. Glad you're here with us. We want to say happy International Women's Day to women all over the world.
Yes.
As we said, women make the world go round. So we really do appreciate you ladies for every contribution you've ever made. And I think of Malala. I think of, oh my God, Amelia Earhart. I think of Bessie Coleman. I
Mm-hmm.
just think of Leontine Price. I mean,
Oh,
I just think of women who have just done the doggone thing. I mean, Oprah being a media mogul that she is, Diane Carroll having the first, evening show, television, drama show. All of that is just overwhelming. And it's all the attributes of women and the accomplishments that they have made. And I just think it's so great. I really do.
absolutely. But it all started with one woman, Art. It all started with mom. Because
Yes. Yes.
mothers, they nurture, they love, they do all that good stuff.
Yes,
So
they do. Yes, you're
yes.
absolutely right. All right. Well, is there anything else we need to cover before our guest joins us in just a little bit?
No, I just I this day is always I always honor women each and every day, but this day is special because we're getting our due, and I'm hoping as I like to tease, I said we do, as Beyonce said, girls do run the world and we rule the world.
Yes.
We just let men think you do. That's all.
Yes. I was on social media earlier today, and our beloved Rhonda Ross, one of the daughters of amazing Miss
Yes.
Diana Ross, and it was just so fabulous for Rhonda to post all of these pictures of her
Yes.
and her sisters with their mom. And
Mm-hmm.
and I was telling my friend at lunch today, I said, imagine your mother is Diana Ross. That's all.
Okay.
Your mama is Diana Ross, and you have
Hello.
all of these amazing pictures with your mother, and to know that she's just an everyday woman to her children, and
Mm-hmm.
still a mom, and is doing all the right things, and it just was beautiful. But yeah, that's amazing. Like, your mama is Diana Ross, so yes, yes, very good. All right, well, as we move on with tonight's show, make sure this is what did she say? Make sure to share this broadcast. Yes, please do, everybody. Share it. Hit the share button. You can always go to YouTube, Facebook, The Real Chat Daddy Show, and you can see encore performances there. Well, our
And don't
first,
forget to subscribe. Hit that subscribe button.
hit that subscribe button, baby. Hit that
That's right.
subscribe button. Matter of fact, shout out to our guest last night, the poet.
Oh, Miss Ebony. Ebony
Yes.
Janelle.
Thank you. Miss Ebony Janelle, or Janelle the Poet.
Yes.
Her friends started following us last night. Out of
Alrighty
all
then.
the guests we've ever had on this show, she had the most amount of people follow after I made that request to please subscribe to the show. So I really appreciate her on every level. She
And
was,
see, and this is what I'm talking about. Our youngins. Miss
yes,
Ebony Janelle. We're
I
thinking
look,
about Amanda Gorman, who is just
that's right.
rocking it. So
Yes,
our youngins are
absolutely.
doing the damn thing, and I couldn't be more proud.
Yes, absolutely. All right. Well, we're going to welcome our only guest this evening, but she's not only our only guest, she's an amazing woman. She is an accomplished author, speaker, health educator, and an advocate. I've known Michelle for a couple of years now. Her personality is just so beautiful. Everything she does it with passion. She does it thinking about other people. Michelle actually started off as a massage therapist, a licensed massage therapist, and then she was diagnosed with stage 4 endometriosis. And
Wow.
that's when her entire life turned upside down. But
Mm-hmm.
she took those lemons and made amazing lemonade out of it. And she's here tonight to share her story, talk to us all about endometriosis and how she is trying to redefine endometriosis. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome my friend, uh, a celebrated author. She's an ADA ambassador. She is just all around great woman. Please welcome the creator of Fighting Fiercely Endometrius Awareness Movement, the one and only Miss Michelle N. Johnson. Yay! Oh,
Yay!
wait, did I put it in there? Okay, yay!
Yay!
Hey, darling.
Oh my gosh, thank you guys so much. Every time we do this and every time I hear you read that bio, I always have to pause. Like, who is he talking about? Like, you always make me feel so special. And so I thank
Oh.
you so much. It's so good to finally meet you, Miss K. Renee. I
Ah,
watch you guys and I'm just honored as I am always when you invite me to the show to talk about endometriosis.
Yes. Well, we love, you know, I love you to no end. If it's anything that I can do for you, my friend, I'm always there to help you. And the beautiful part about you, Michelle, is that you are one of the most giving people I know.
Oh.
And you are one of the most straightforward people. You and Kay Renee are just alike. Tell it like it is, call it what it is, and make sure it's done in order and in fashion. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, thank you so much.
Yes,
Thank
I
you so
appreciate
much.
you for that. So, Michelle, let's first of all let you introduce yourself, tell the audience who you are, and then let's talk about endometriosis in your presentation tonight.
Well, thank you so much. All right, so as you mentioned, I am a licensed massage therapist and wellness educator for the past 18 years now. I am also the founder of the Fighting Fiercely Endometriosis Awareness Movement, which started about 2012 or so. As you mentioned, I am patient educator and ambassadors for both ADA 25, which is now Disability Lead, and also for the Chronic Disease Coalition. And all of those pieces kind of built on top of each other as a result of my own diagnosis with endometriosis. As you mentioned, I was thriving and flourishing in my very much loved career as a massage therapist. And then about 5 years into my career, I was diagnosed with endometriosis. And prior to my diagnosis, I had never heard of the disease. I didn't know anything about the disease. And as you mentioned, it completely changed my entire life. And
Mm-hmm.
as a result of me navigating this journey and learning about the disease and trying to manage my disease, and also explain my disease to friends, to family, to coworkers. That's kind of how my advocacy began, just in trying to educate people in my life, because just like I didn't understand, there was so much that they didn't understand about the disease, and things just kind of took a life of its own and grew from there. And here I am,
Mm-hmm.
13 years later, still advocating and educating for this disease, and we're still waiting for a cure.
Oh my God. Praise God for you being the person you are, your strength, your courage, your wisdom, just all of that. So, with that being said, so what is endometriosis?
Okay, so before I get to the definition, so when you asked me to come on, I wanted to, because we've done this for a few years now, right?
Right. Yes.
And just in the time that I have started with advocacy, there has been so much new research, so much new scientific evidence, so much that we thought was true years ago that has been found to be untrue, so many new developments. And so I thought it was really important to start from the beginning and revisit and redefine, because
Okay.
that's part of the confusion, that's part of why there's continued delay in diagnosis, because we have even doctors, even medical professions, even prestigious organizations that people turn to for advice are still giving antiquated, incorrect definitions about this disease. They're still giving inappropriate options for treatment. And so that's why it was important for our conversation today to go back and redefine this conversation that we're having about some key aspects of endometriosis. And so,
Hmm.
that being said, defining endometriosis is a condition when tissue that is similar to those normally found inside of the uterus that are found outside of the uterus. And it is very important to make this distinction. It's tissue that's similar, but it is not the same. It is not tissue that has traveled outside of the uterus into other areas of the body. It is not displaced uterine tissue. Although the two tissues are the same, endometriosis has its own distinct biology, its own distinct pathology with regard to the way it behaves in the body. It is completely and explicitly different than the tissue that is normally found inside of the uterus. And this is important because this tissue embeds itself through all different organs of the body, and this can lead to various forms of inflammation within the body, endometriomas, or what we call endometrial tumors or cysts. This can cause very severe scar tissue, and it can relate to all types of other organ dysfunction within the body. And so it's not just a reproductive disorder as previously thought. It's not something that just affects the reproductive system. It is a disease that can and does affect the entire body.
Wow. Every time you talk to me about this, I sit in silence because I'm just like, oh my God. Kay Renee, I see you're deep in thought there. Again, with this being International Women's Day, I'm just going to pass the mic over for you right now. Michelle and I had a list of things to talk about, but I think if two sisters talk about this, it'll really get this message across. Go right ahead.
Well, first, Michelle, thank you so much for being just so brave to talk about this because in my growing up hearing about that word, that the E word, a lot of us, including black women, would not really want to talk about it, and they would think something is wrong. I had no idea. I'm thinking it had to do with the reproductive area because it affects the uterus and it doesn't affect the male anatomy, but more so the female anatomy. Um, and then, of course, reading about endometriosis, that you can have a lot of inflammation and it
Mm-hmm.
can really affect you, especially when you're having your menstrual cycle. Because I know women. In fact, I have a cousin who had who was dealing with endometriosis, and there's a level sometimes of shame there. And I'm just so proud of you that you're speaking with such confidence, such compassion about this condition, and to know that there are advancements in this condition, it makes me hopeful. um
Mm-hmm.
I guess I want to know, how do you know how long a woman can have this condition? Is it curable? Or I know it's manageable, but is it curable?
So a couple of things there. So one of the things I specifically told Art that I want to talk about is who gets endometriosis, because by and
Mm-hmm.
large, for decades, it was referred to as only affecting women, and it does largely affect women, but it does not only affect women. And so
Mm.
there have been cases of endometriosis that have been found in men, and so this is another point to redefine this disease. And so, yes, largely it does affect females, women, who were assigned female at birth, right? Cis women of reproductive age. However, this disease can and it does also affect menstruators and non menstruators alike. And so this can
Mm.
include trans males, this can include uh, rarer occurrence in cis males or men who were born or assigned male at birth or XY carriers, right? This disease can affect people who are at menopause. This can affect people who have had a hysterectomy. this disease can even
Mm.
affect people who have not yet even begun to menstruate. So the youngest case of this disease has been found, I believe it was a young girl who was 9 years old. So we need to
Wow.
redefine when we think about who can be affected by this disease. So that's number one. And to the second part of your question, no, there is no cure for this disease. There are a variety of treatment options, which we'll talk about in just a moment, but there is no cure for the disease. And so, you know, this disease is a whole body disease. And so I just want to share with you all again as we redefine who's affected by this disease and how it is affected. Typically,
Hmm.
we do think about the reproductive organs, right? But this disease has also been found in the bowel, in the bladder, in the intestines, in the rectum, in the eyes, in the brain, in the lungs, and in the diaphragm. So people talk about thoracic endometriosis or diaphragmic endometriosis. These occurrences are not rare. I see you guys' face. I see Art is looking like, say what now?
Because wait,
Yes.
I had a million questions about the male thing, and I'm sitting here while we on this camera, like, wait a minute, you mean to tell me I got a uterus? You mean to tell me right, right? So that's why I was like, hold on now, but okay then. I had no idea.
And so to your point Art, about being a male, so Dr. David Redwine, he is one of the foremost authorities on endometriosis. He is a retired excision surgeon, been practicing for over 30 years. And what he says about cis men is that he says PWPs, or people with prostates, right? If you are someone who has had prostate cancer, you can have endometriosis of the bladder or of the prostate if some of your treatment options include medications that involve estrogen to reduce some
Mm,
of your symptoms of prostate
Mm.
cancer. And
mm,
so, yes, it absolutely can affect you if you don't have a uterus. You know, people
wow.
like myself who have had their uterus removed. I can still very much have this disease. There are some rare occurrences of people born without a uterus. So I just want us to open our minds and expand how we view, you know, who can be affected with this disease because it
Right.
goes just beyond, you know, what we thought just affecting cis women.
Right, right. Wow, I had
Mm.
no idea. I did not. Interesting. K Renee, go right ahead. Before you talk about the treatment course, did you have another question, K Renee?
I'm still in shock, so go ahead.
Me too. Look, because I
I'm
was so glad she justified it. Because I said, now wait a minute, ain't nobody tell me I hadn't had a uterus all these years. But okay, so I'm like, well, it's been underused or whatever. But okay, so wow, that is just incredible. So, what
yeah.
can be done to help? Is it a natural herb thing? Is it, of course, surgery? What are the treatment plans for endometriosis?
So, usually, our effective treatment of endometriosis tends to be multi pronged. And what I mean by that is it can involve everything that you just mentioned. And so, as I stated earlier, while there is no cure, excision surgery, which is where they go in and cut the disease out, to date, that has been considered the gold standard of treatment, right? If you have someone skilled in removing this disease, cutting it out, that is the option that tends to have the lowest incidence of reoccurrence. And for some women, depending on the severity of disease, it can permanently, you know, alleviate their symptoms. But this disease doesn't affect everybody in the same way, right? And so some people treat it with a combination of what we call hormonal therapies, which tends to be like your birth controls or drugs that will put your body into chemical menopause. You may have seen commercials for this drug called Oralissa. There's a drug called Lupron that is tend to be used. A combination of pain medicines, NSAIDs. It can be like your Tylenol or Advil. It can even range into opioids depending on the severity of pain. Some people opt for nerve blocking procedures, dietary treatments and adjustments, or some people bring in therapies or holistic treatments like herbal therapies or CBD or medical marijuana, but typically it's
Mm-hmm.
going to be some combination of everything that I've just mentioned, and I probably have used at one point or another everything that I just mentioned there. um because the disease is cyclical, right? And so I'm 13 years in. So the symptoms I had when I was first diagnosed are different now. Some symptoms may alleviate and then new symptoms may present itself. So it's ever changing, it's ever evolving, and treatment plans that I used 3 years ago, maybe they don't work now and I have to integrate something else. And so that's why
Mhm.
it's typically a multi prong. You got to kind of attack this thing from different areas, and what may work for me may not work for the next person. So it's not a one size fit all, and unfortunately it's not a standardized protocol. A lot of it is trial and error
Mm-mm.
for a lot of us.
Michelle, I have a question. I've heard, can a person get endometrial cancer? I've heard that. Is that
So endometrial cancer and endometriosis is two different things. And so this is
okay?
where the distinction comes in. So the lining of our uterus, right? So quick history lesson for those, when you have your menstrual cycle, that lining of the uterus builds up and sheds, and that's, your menstrual every month. So the lining of the uterus, that is called the endometrium.
Okay.
Mhm.
That is where the relation to endometrial cancer comes in.
Okay.
Endometriosis is a disease that occurs outside of the
Mhm.
uterus. Now,
Right.
in
Gotcha.
very
Okay.
rare cases, there have been some very rare cases where endometriosis has, led to endometrial cancer, but that's not typical. That those were
Okay.
atypical circumstances.
Mm-mm. So, Michelle, like, people who have sickle cell anemia, things like that, they have episodes or, moments. I mean, even, with me dealing with my leukemia, there are times when, my joints just hurt so bad, things like that. Do you have episodes or how does that work with someone
Oh
with
my
endometriosis?
God. Do I have episodes?
Okay.
Yes, we call them flare ups. And
Okay.
again, it's going to be different from person to person. So for me, what that looked like was just spontaneous influx of pain just out of nowhere in my pelvic area, in my abdominal area. That could look like spontaneous bleeding just out of nowhere. You start bleeding or passing clots. For a lot of people, their pain and symptoms are heightened around the cycle, around their
Mm-hmm.
period. So I would, because I was be losing so much blood, I was very anemic. So
Mm-hmm.
tired, lethargic, couldn't eat, very nauseous. Some people have difficulty with bowel movements. And for me, for like a decade, and this is just gonna be real transparent.
This
So for like
family.
10 years, my entire wardrobe was black. Black panties, black pants, black, like white just did not exist in my life. Because at any
I can see
moment
that.
I would just start spewing like a fountain, just
Yeah.
bleeding everywhere. And
Yeah.
I
Oh my
have been
God.
on the bus where I've had to like tie a jacket around my waist to get off the bus because I start
Um.
bleeding on the bus. Uh I
And
have
then again, you are a grown woman going through this.
Yes,
We
I am
doing
Right.
this
not a
right.
teenager who just
Right.
got my period and I'm trying to figure it out. I'm
Right.
a grown woman who's been doing this for a couple decades now. All
Mm-hmm.
my sheets, no pretty sheets, no sexy. It was granny panties for about 10 years because you just
Wow.
never knew when and where
It
an
would flare up.
episode would erupt.
Right.
And
Wow.
so for a long time I carried Walgreens in my bag. I had like a period pack. And if you have, and you know what that is, if you have
Yes.
endometriosis, and it was wipes, it was sanitary napkins, it was an extra pair of panties, it was trial size of body wash, because you would never know when you would have to dip off to a bathroom,
Right.
and you just never knew. And so and even now that um so quick, so I did end up having a hysterectomy for a different condition, but now that I don't have my cycles, I do still have my one good ovary. So I do still have flare-ups if they're trigger foods. Sometimes they're foods, typically
Mm-hmm.
foods with soy. or lots of estrogen, gluten. Sometimes if I'm like, ooh, I just want to have that cookie, I'm gonna pay for it a couple hours later because I'm
Wow.
gonna be
Oh.
in some pain.
Wow.
So there are definitely flare ups. There are definitely episodic uh phases, and that's going to look different from person to person, but we definitely have those, and work is affected, your relationships are affected, your productivity is affected. And so, this is a disease. Again, it doesn't just affect your physical body, it has mental ramifications, emotional ramifications, financial ramifications. Your entire life is
Yes.
affected by
Yes.
this
I agree.
disease.
I agree.
Hmm.
Yes. I couldn't. Right. With the K Renee, I'm gonna let you ask your famous question. What's next for you? Because K Renee has a good question about her what she asked, but what's next, Michelle?
For me, what is next is continuing to advocate. I actually went on hiatus, as art near the end of last year. I lost my father
Our
at the end of
condolences.
last
Yes.
year.
Yeah.
And I was very close with my father. And so I actually took a hiatus from advocacy, and I initially thought I was going to jump back in at the start of the year, but then I realized, you know what, I'm not fully ready. So I'm still on my mental health hiatus. So I'm not actively doing anything, but my goal is, once I feel ready to come back, I have my YouTube channel where I put out educational and advocacy videos. I'm going to reignite that. I'm actually working on a revised version of my book so that I can include some of these updates and some of the new information. I'm working on a second edition
Right.
with updated resources and new information. I don't have a release date, but it is coming soon. And so right now, my goal is to work on my mental health and my emotional health. But what is next is, second edition of Fighting Fiercely, and a new and improved, more education, more awareness, more digital advocacy through my YouTube channel.
Hmm. Very
Mhm.
good. K Renee, go right ahead because I see the wheels turning and I see you really in deep thought.
Well, Michelle, I have learned so much in this short amount of time with you. I hope we get the opportunity to connect. If there's anything that you need, don't hesitate to let me know because this type of condition, I know it affects everyone, but it seems like it affects more black women. I can't speak for the vanilla, but I can definitely speak for us because I know a lot of women who unfortunately have this to condition. So I applaud you. I can tell you're a daddy's girl like me, so I know your father is so proud of you, but he lives within you because I know because I've lost my dad as well. Um, Besides your dad, and given the fact that we are celebrating International Women's Day, I have a feeling I know the answer to this, but I want you to share it with our audience. Who inspires you to be the absolute
Oh,
best Michelle N. Johnson this universe has just ever seen?
well, I mean, who else could it be but my mama? I mean,
All right.
I
I
mean,
figured that.
what am I gonna say? Um, my mom, absolutely my mom. And when we're younger, a lot, sometimes we butt heads with our parents, right?
Hmm.
And I'm no difference. Like me and my mom butted heads a lot. But then as I got older, I realized number one, we're both Virgos. Our
Oh,
Oh
birthdays are
boy.
actually
and you're
one
Virgo
week
too.
Oh
Oh
apart.
my
boy.
goodness. See that I know we gonna get along. Hello, my Virgo queen.
Yes. So we're both Virgos. Our birthdays are one week apart.
Oh my
And
goodness.
then one day I realized I am my mother's child. You know,
See.
I am my mother's child. And I absolutely get my work ethic from her. I actually talk about my mother in the book, how, I when I would see her leaving out, I would see the leather jackets and the well coiffed hair and the briefcase. And I was like, I don't even know what she's walking out the door to do, but I want to do that when I grow up. And so definitely my work ethic absolutely comes from my mother, and just that drive of wanting to be active and wanting to be productive, but not only that, but to make a change and
Mhm.
to be purposeful with the work that we do. um and that absolutely is what lights a fire. And she always tells me that, somebody's, I forget exactly how she says it, but like it's like somebody's destiny is tied to your purpose.
Hmm.
Right? So it's greater than you. It's bigger than you. It's not just about you. Somebody's deliverance or somebody's breakthrough, they're waiting for you
Right.
to do what you have been called to do.
Hmm.
That's
So
right.
Hmm.
absolutely, from
Oh.
her for sure.
That is so
Oh.
beautiful. It really is. So wait a minute. I should have known that you both were Virgos because, hey Renee, just how you and I talk on the telephone, that's the way Michelle and I talk on the telephone. So that is just right. That, oh my God, that is so like, okay.
Yes.
You
This is a
can't get
whole
you
lunch
can't get
meeting.
away from us Virgos, honey.
Yeah, that's so fun. Now that I think about it, I'm like, damn, I talked to both of y'all. We talk and tell it like it is, figure it out, pick it
Hmm.
apart. Oh my God. Yes, interesting.
Hmm.
Interesting. Well, Michelle, I love you so very much. We're gonna put your website up here. It is fightingfiercely.com.
Hmm.
Fightingfiercely.com for more information about Michelle. With this being International Women's Day, what do you want to say in closing to the audience tonight?
I will say this. This is International Women's Day, but March is also National Endometriosis Awareness Month.
It
So there's
is.
that. So I would like to say to all the women, um, that it is okay to not be okay. You do not have to be strong all the time. It is perfectly okay to put that cape up, burn it if you want to. That's what I did with mine, but make sure that you charge your battery. Make sure to replenish yourself. People say it all the time that you cannot pour from an empty cup, but sometimes it's okay to just drink all that water for yourself. Hydrate yourself, replenish yourself, refuel yourself.
I
And
agree.
so, putting yourself first, always putting yourself first is not selfish, it's an act of self-love.
Hmm.
you know
Amen.
so as
Hmm.
to all the women, as you're pouring into others, don't forget to pour into yourself. That is what I would say
Oh
to all
my
the
God.
to
That's
all the
beautiful.
women out there.
It
Yeah.
is beautiful. For more information, you guys, please go to fightingfiercely.com. Fightingfiercely.com. My sister, my friend, I just love Michelle to no end, just like Kay Renee. Michelle, either call me tomorrow or later on because I got some tea to tell you.
All
But
right.
absolutely, I got a little tea for you.
All
But
right.
otherwise, I love you, darling. Thank you so very much for hanging out with us tonight. March is Endometriosis Awareness Month, you guys, and that's why we had her here to talk about this very delicate but important subject to talk about. Kay Renee, what do you want to say before we jump out?
My Virgo queen, happy International Women's Day to you. Continue living your life with purpose, passion, but more importantly, with praise.
Amen. Thank you guys so much. I had an absolute pleasure being here. Thank you so much, and I'll see you guys next time.
We love you, darling.
Yes, you
Thank you so
will.
Mwah.
very much.
Love you
Let's see,
guys.
we got
Michelle,
great
mwah.
feedback. Oh, we got great feedback. Keep being
Oh,
fierce. Oh, yeah, you wonderful. All right, darling, we love you and we'll talk to you later.
thank
Okay.
you guys. Have a good
All right.
night.
Bye.
Bye
Bye
bye.
You
bye.
too.
Oh, that was
Ah,
beautiful. I love her. She is so incredible. She really
my
is.
heart is full.
Yes. Yes.
My
I can
heart
only
is full.
imagine. Yes. Amen. All right.
Full.
Well, we've come to that end of our show. We've done a great job tonight, health awareness, in honor of March being Endometriosis Awareness Month and today International Women's Day. Okay, it's time for that nugget of knowledge, my dear.
And it's a good nugget. And
Uh
it
oh.
all ties in with today being International Women's Day. And it simply says this, y'all. Behind every successful woman is a tribe of successful women who have her back. And today is Live Your Truth Tuesday. Happy International Women's Day, but also break the bias.
Yes, break the bias. I love that. I do. That is beautiful. For more information about this amazing young lady who sits in our co-host chair, go to karensnuggetsofknowledge.com. Karen, look, I got so many messages. I need to delete all these. It's going to take me an hour to get up there now. Right. karensnuggetsofknowledge.com. karensnuggetsofknowledge.com. Tomorrow evening, we're going to meet a gentleman who is a new artist. He's a solo artist, but he's a part of a famous group. And he will be going out on tour with Cameo when they come back out on tour. But he did a song that is a homage to LL Cool J.
Really?
Yes. So we'll meet him tomorrow night. John O. Yes, Johnny O.
Right.
Yes, I'm looking forward to meeting him tomorrow evening. Yes, it's going to be a great show. Make sure you guys come back and hang out with us tomorrow night, 7 p.m. for the Wednesday night edition of The Real Chat Daddy Show as we continue to celebrate Women's History Month. And we're celebrating that spring is right around the corner. So hopefully, we'll see. It's going to snow again. It's going to be really cold on Saturday. It's going to be 27 degrees Saturday. I know.
Don't get sprung. That's what I tell people. Spring may be around the corner, but please, y'all, don't get sprung.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Wamelda. We love you. Scorpio love. Chef Lavatino Harris. Oh, hey, Chef. I miss you. Preston, thank you so much. Who else was here with us tonight? Candace.
And Dr. Sam, your cousin.
My cousin, honey. My cousin. Yes. Thank you. Miss Crawford, Janet Crawford. We appreciate you so much, darling. We do. Flower Child, vegan girl. I know who that is. We just love her as well, too. Thank you guys for all being here. For more information about yours truly, please visit therealchatdaddy.com. Therealchatdaddy.com is where you can find out more information. We'll be back tomorrow night. We love you guys so very much. Thank you. Have a wonderful night. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. We out of here, babe. Bye.
Bye.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Real Chat Daddy Show.